you lovely YouTubers, and welcome back to another video. This is the second half of my sketchbook. I finally finished it with all the schoolwork that I had. This is going to be, the first couple of pages is before school started, and then it gets into schoolwork, and I just started using it for my school sketchbook. So, I had an idea of a unicorn as a plant pot, and I had no idea how to draw horses at the beginning. I wasn't using reference. I just immediately wanted to jot down the idea so I wouldn't forget it. And yeah, it looks sad. Because once I started looking at horses, I realized, my proportions are way off. I have no idea what a horse actually looks like. And so I just started drawing unicorns. I started playing with shapes, playing with the type of unicorns, seeing some unicorns on Pinterest, fat unicorns, and drawing them and testing them out and seeing what I think looked pretty neat. And then I wanted to do some stickers of like parts of unicorns. So it was like hair, the horn, and blood. And so that was part of, excuse me, the time I had off of school. Then on this side I drew some sketches in graphite, but it was smudging and I didn't want it to get over here. Excuse me. So I went ahead and just cover it with regular printer paper. I did use this one for one of my class assignments later on, that you would see the first axles, because we were supposed to just first have some easy trial of playing with mixed media. So you guys should have recognized this one, and I think it was this one as well. Then I was just drawing some quick posture sketches, just to loosen up and keep warm up while I was out of class for a little while. Just drawing gesture drawings. It's one of the easiest things for me to draw. Random, I don't even know why I was drawing that, honestly, at this point in time. More gesture drawings. I forgot this. I think this was like the Cheapy Rees gouache, trying it again. And just wasn't feeling it at the time. I wanted to just have her pop out. And then we go into classwork. So this is the first drawings. These were the two sketches I did for the first assignment. And then I went with this one where it's more like a cover, and this one was more like a story being told. And here we have the value studies, and we were supposed to do it on tan paper and regular white paper, and I use Copic markers. I might be saying a lot just because I'm trying to think what the hell did I use to do this stuff. So yeah, Copic markers and color pencils, but obviously the white color and different grays color pencils with both of them. A charcoal with this guy. And then here, this was a messed up one, so I didn't bother with it. We only had to do two. So that was that, keeping all my crappy papers. In between, I was going to sketch out, there's another print of it, and I was going to draw it out and do another value study if I needed it, but I didn't. Here I had some, trying to draw animals, warming up for class, and I'm really bad at drawing animals. That's one of the things I want to get better at, and so I did that. This was a drawing that I did for the frog prints. This is the sketch, and then I just mirrored it over on the frog prints drawing. I was doing it here, and I realized I was getting too finicky of not wanting to mess with it, so I was like, let me just draw pretty much the shape I'm interested in doing, and then I can shrink it and manipulate it in Photoshop. So I did that, and then here, you guys can see that I mirrored the leaf, and then I have my frog prints, and then I was thinking about the Norton, how I wanted the value studies to go. So there was that one. And that was the value study without the leaves. And I realized when I did this, I felt like something was missing. And that's when I went back and drew the leaves. So originally he was just going to be on a closed flower. And then I was like, no, it needs a little something else. And that's when he became this. And then we had to do a collage piece. So I was using some paper that I have for scrapbooking, which I don't scrapbook. I just buy the paper because I like it. I know that's really weird, but I am going to try to incorporate it in my actual paintings. But yeah, I know it's one of those weird quirks that I like the paper, and so I get it. But I did use it back here, and that's where I got that idea and texture from, and then I ended up painting it. I would have used the actual paper with the painting, but the painting, when I blew it up, the paper would have not fit the same. I think I went over all that in the actual process of painting the frog prints. Here's the tan paper. I usually print out a few, so if I mess it up, I can go and paint it and I don't have to worry about coming back to printing it out. So that's why you might see multiple copies. And this was with the Copex and charcoal pencils to the value studies. And again, with the tan paper and white paper. I did it a little bit bigger just because it seemed like a little bit more detail going on. And we didn't have to do this, but I wasn't sure how I wanted the colors to go. So I messed with 2 different kinds of blues, how I wanted the greens to be, if I wanted more of a like foresty green or vibrant like pastel-y green. So I was playing with the color concept there. And it actually helped me quite a bit because I was a bit not unsure what I wanted to do. Here are some more gesture drawings, just warming up in between class when he's lecturing, when professors are lecturing or telling you about materials and how to use them and stuff. For some reason, I can listen better while doodling and drawing. If I just sit there and watch, I will fall asleep. So, yep, quick little sketches. In my animation class, she had us pull out the sketchbook and draw. So first we started with just line gestures. So when you're looking at the gestures, you find the line of action and you just draw that. So it was the warm-up. This was a different night with my husband. He wanted me to teach him how to draw. So I brought out the most boring thing I can think of, because if you really want to draw, you will draw the most boring stuff and you will draw it over and over again because you want to learn. And that's how you know. That's how you know this. It's for you. At least for me, that's what I think. So when we were doing still life, after the second one, he was done. I was like, I thought so. So then the next exercising class. So this is back to class. We were supposed to draw the gesture drawings without actually looking down. So you actually just draw what you think you're drawing on the paper without looking down, but you're still looking at the actual figure or image on the screen. So we did that. And then the last bit, you got to look down and draw and scribble. Which is funny because I think when I wasn't looking down, it felt a lot more correctly proportionate and alive. I didn't know how that happened. And then when I started looking down, I mean, I drew them bigger, but I don't know. It's just, I don't like them as much as I do when I wasn't looking at them, which is kind of funny. And then this is a little bit longer time to draw out the characters, but looking up and down. And so I actually want to do some more exercise where I'm not looking at the paper and drawing a lot more, because it seemed like that works for me. This was a test, because we usually had to do with our mixed media classes, we had to try out the medium first on a small drawing, and then we do the larger one. So the drawing for the lizard girl, the portrait, and her familiar lizard that I call Regal, these were my test drawings to try out the materials and see if they were any good. And this, guys, if you're curious, is just a plain old XL Canson mixed media sketchbook. Nothing fancy here. So, and it held up pretty all right for all the craziness that I was putting it through. And this was obviously worked a little bit more. I wanted to see the difference between fully rendering the face and what I want the focal point to be, to just semi-rendering it. And I definitely was more on the side of rendering more than less. So where I wanted the focal point to be, to really render it, to then to wash out the back. And that's how I got my idea of how much to color pencil and how much not to, what balance I liked. This was the drawing of it, and as you see, the leaping lizard was a lot tinier to start with, and I felt like he got lost in the whole drawing. So when I took it in Photoshop, I scanned it and brought it into Photoshop. I just cut him out and enlarged him where it didn't feel like he was lost anymore in the drawing. And that's where the final piece came from. And saw this last week where it was my ideas for the teapot for the dragon sketchbook. And oh, here is the reference I had for the familiar Regal chick. And then I print out the lizard so I can use them as a reference while I was in class drawing it, what I was thinking of the idea. And even then, when I drew it too small. I think he's like even further back from here. So I drew it too small, and I should have just, because here with him color, he stands out because he's colored. But once I drew it, and then I think I drew it too small, it was too small, so I just had to scan it and make it bigger. And then like a lot of these details I had to guess, because this piece of paper, you know, a lot of the details is gone. She has a pretty much so skinny that she's a lollipop head. So I gave her a lot more meat to her. Nothing wrong with being that thin if that's what you like. I like to have even proportion. I'm all about balance. And like you could kind of see the lace. I'm trying to get it to show you, but like there was a lot of details you just couldn't see. So I just like in the flowers you see it there, but you can't see how it really was there. So I made it a lot more simplistic because it wasn't about the lace, even though in that photo it probably is about the outfit because it's a fashion photo. And then I screwed up printing out here, and yep, and then this was just testing some watercolors on the paper a while ago. And then this was a mixed media. I didn't have my palette paper with me that day, so I used this. And then at the end, I just scraped it all together to do some kind of weird craziness of crazy stuff. And that is my sketchbook, guys. So I hope you guys enjoy. I'm going to be coming with you with a lot more sketches for this quarter because we're going, yeah. So that should be coming up next. Hopefully, no promises. We'll see what happens. Thanks again for staying again. If you guys like this video, go ahead and please leave a like. It helps me out also so very much. And subscribe if you haven't. I try to post a video once a week. No promises, maybe twice every 2 weeks. I do what I can with the time that is allowed that I have. So with that said, thanks again for staying to the end. Smooches.